I think multiclassing is one of the most fun parts of D&D. It's really fun to mess around with the mechanics and Frankenstein together your own loadout of abilities and equipment. There is a bit of a challenge in that you miss out on some of the higher level perks from your chosen classes, but when it's done right, it's a great way to add a little bit of uniqueness to a character. You can technically multiclass every single level, so a standard D&D character could theoretically have 20 different classes. Baldur's Gate 3 only goes to level 12, but it has 12 different classes to choose from and an achievement for doing a full run of the game multiclassing into all of them. But characters like this are stuck with only first level abilities. There's a reason you get an achievement for it. It's not easy and kinda more trouble than it's worth. The question on my mind is, how many times can you multiclass before the game stops being fun? A 4-class character build puts you right in the sweet spot of interesting and challenging. Enough variety to play around with, and enough slack to get some good benefits out of every class, but no matter how you split up the levels, you're missing out on something somewhere. The rules as written for this run are as follows. Number 1. Every party member takes 4 classes and has to invest into those classes at least as far as the subclass choice. Number 2, starting class must remain as is, meaning I couldn't, for example, reclass Gale into something other than a wizard or Shadowheart into a different cleric domain. And number 3, 1 mulligan. I'm only human, I make mistakes, and in the event that I dead-end a character into an unplayable mess, I'd like to be able to fix it. Lastly, please note that I'm very bad at video games. This is not a challenge run in the traditional sense, I am not skilled enough for that. More so, it's just an excuse to experiment with game mechanics and talk about a game that I love to death and have put a concerning number of hours into. And with that, let's get into it. I started off the run the way I always do, by choosing not to reset tutorials and creating my character. I chose human for the extra proficiency, gave him a fancy mug, and not that it's important, but his name is Jerry. My goal for Jerry was a versatile battle mage build, high physical damage and armor with some well-rounded spellcasting for any situation. So with this in mind, the starting class was obvious. I chose Paladin of the Ancients for some good baseline stats and equipment, some really handy heals, and at higher levels, Divine Smite. But we'll get there, because first I had a cephalopod-shaped ship to escape. Why did I write that in the script? I sped through the tutorial, making sure to pick up all the friends I could along the way. At the end of the level, there's a Mind Flayer fighting a devil that's designed to be too hard for your party to fight. The game even tells you not to try. But I've heard that if you do manage to kill him, he drops his big flaming sword, which is apparently really handy. So, I gave it a shot. So, I gave it a shot. So, I decided it wasn't worth it, and moved on to Act 1. My first goal of Act 1, put together a team. As it happened, team member number 1 was right in front of my face. Not that one.
Have to keep going.
This one. My goal with Shadowheart was a stealth support class that made use of the new shadowy subclasses from Patch 8, with heals and buffs from the backline and high mobility and melee damage if anybody got a little bit too close. I woke her up and we headed off. We leveled up soon afterwards, and for Shadowheart's second class, I decided to get the hardest part out of the way first. Monk was the only class I had planned for Shadowheart that didn't take a subclass at first level, so I fast-tracked her to Monk level 3 before adding anything else. For my second level, I decided to put Divine Smite on hold and spec'd into Barbarian. It was for essentially the same reason as Shadowheart, to rush through a dry couple levels to get to some higher level perks. But no spoilers, we'll get there. Moving on, we met up with Astarion, and even though he pulled a knife on me, I decided to give him a chance and let him travel with us. My go-to strategy with Astarion is to treat him as the sniper character. Set him up with a good bow and the assassin subclass, and he can pump out some serious damage. This time around, I decided to shake things up a bit. I went less Deadshot and more Green Arrow, and set him up with a nice Trickshot build. For Astarion's second level, I spec'd him into Fighter. The subclass I had planned would be the foundation of the build, and along the way he would get some handy tricks up his sleeve. Finally, to round out my starting squad, I pulled the Wizard from the Stone and added Gale to the roster.
I'm Gale of Waterdeep.
This one I was really excited about. With the new subclasses from patch 8, I had enough to create an entire build around death. And with a side plot about Karsus's folly that rewards some really nice late-game necromancy features and summons, Gale was the perfect candidate. I started by leveling Gale up to Wizard level 2 for his first subclass, School of Necromancy. Along with some nice early level perks, this gave him a bit of a head start on the spellcasting curve. Anyways, this is the crew I rolled with for the start of the game. I did free Zell, but I sent her to camp for the time being, and took my squad into the first major fight. We mopped the floor with them and headed inside the grove. Side note, am I the only one who thinks that Aridin looks a little bit like Timothée Chalamet? Anyway, back at camp, Shadowheart was out of spell slots. So, I gave her a break and switched her out for her mortal enemy. Normally, Lae'zel is a pretty tanky character, but I already had that covered with my character, so I lightened her load a bit. She's still focused on melee damage, but with light, flourishy weapons, and class abilities to support them. But before anything else, I spec'd her into Fighter level 2 for Action Surge and some extra health. After that, I did a bit of shopping, intimidated some poor guy, recruited Will, who I also sent straight back to camp, and then headed off towards team member number 6. No, not her. The one who was taking a nap in the ruins. Hey, who are you? Get the hell out of here!
It would have been quicker to kill them.
Withers? Withers! Wait, there's more of you? Okay, they're all dead. Phew. I might need Will to finish this up. I think Gale is beat. I decided to do something super simple for Will and just threw together the 4 charisma-based classes. They all play off of each other pretty well, and there's a lot of freedom in how you can set up the levels, since 3 of them give subclasses at level 1. And like all the other times, I decided to get the other one out of the way first and spec'd into Bard at level 2. Now, back to it. Withers? Ooh, piece of candy. Withers? Withers? Are you in here? Oh. Uh-oh. Oh. Oh. Well, shit. Oh, no. We set off the security alarm. Okay, 1 second. Okay, finally. Alright, you old gas bag. Rise and shine. Oh, I had to go through 3 sets of enemies to get to you. I was a whole person down on that last fight, but finally...
Farewell.
Okay, I'll see you later. There was no way I was getting Astarion out of that death trap with a Revivify scroll, which meant my team was 1 person short until Withers made his way to camp. I couldn't remember the exact trigger, but I figured it had something to do with the main story. So I did a little exploring, took a long rest, and leveled up. For level 3, like I said earlier, most characters just took a second level in one of their current classes. The exceptions to this were Lae'zel and Gale. Gale continued collecting death classes, speccing into Cleric of the Death Domain, and Lae'zel took a level in Wizard. I know, I said I was going to keep her melee focused, and I meant that. She took spells for out-of-combat use, and a cantrip meant specifically for swords. After this, I headed onward to the Goblin camp, got introduced to Shadowheart's sick-looking D20, and finally Withers decided to settle in and gave me player 4 back. To try out my revitalized strength, I went to save Wulbren. Ah, damn it. Oh, you gotta be shitting me. Oh, alright. Bear with me for a moment.
Your sour face is tiring, Shadowheart.
This time around, I chased the goblins off, untied Wulbren, and then headed north to another fight. I beat up some gnolls, and finally added the last party member for this act. Karlach was my one-hit wonder, or rather, my one-turn wonder. I knew that the late game was going to get dicey as HP and spellcasting hit a plateau, and that at that point, Karlach especially would most likely only be getting off 1 turn in combat before getting downed. So, my plan was to set her up with a glass cannon loadout meant to do the most damage possible in a single turn. Karlach joins the party at level 3, which means I have 2 whole levels to play with. So in the name of maximum damage, I left Barbarian alone and added 2 levels into Paladin to unlock Divine Smite. And after cooling off Karlach for the moment, I went with her to take down a different Paladin. After that, I saved a kid from some harpies, which took a couple tries, and after a good night's sleep, I headed south to the wetlands. I ran into these 2 who asked me to save their sister Mayrina from a sweet old lady. Anyway, I headed into the swamp to find her. I fought some cranky old men and found Mayrina in a treehouse with the sweet old lady, except... Oh. The hag escaped into her basement, and I nobly decided to do something else until I was a higher level. I found my first tadpole, fought the owlbear. Hey, she started it, okay? Said hello to the goodest boy, and that tipped me over to level 4. Highlights from this level. Jerry got his second subclass, adding some fun wild magic effects to his barbarian rage. Lae'zel took her first subclass as a blade singer. Will took a second level in bard for a whole extra short rest per day. Shadowheart finished out her levels in Monk for the Way of Shadow subclass. Don't look at me like that, she had to be unarmored for the defense bonus. And finally, Gale spread his roots wide and added Druid as a class. Karlach and Astarion got nothing of note. To celebrate my new abilities, I decided to go raid this tavern's basement for booze. Alrighty, where is it? Nothing over here. What about those crates over there? Wait, did I? No. Did I? No. Did I? I did. Ooh, this must be really good stuff. Huh, I've heard of barrel-aged, but never coffin-aged. Hey, this is... Oh, man. I don't want this garbage. Here, Gale, you can have it. What? Hello?
Yes, steel bodies, tear them, then Lily puts them back together, again and again.
Oh, damn. Yeah, you'll have fun with this thing, Mr. Death Build. Do you know where the alcohol is?
Talk to the mirror, and remember, balsam, good for burns.
Oh, well, that's wrong. Everyone knows you use that to clean a wound. But thank you. What was your name again?
Master Illy calls me Shovel. Don't like it? Change it.
No, Shovel is fine. Thank you, Shovel.
Why might one use balsam ointment?
Oh, that's easy. To clean a wound, like I said earlier. Surely everyone knows that.
Acceptable. If you could see anything in me, what would it be?
Okay, damn, Gale.
A poor choice. You will be purged.
God damn it, Gale. Okay, this time please be less psychotic, Gale. Thank you.
Be welcome.
A hidden laboratory full of abandoned experiments.
Is one of those experiments alcohol? Are those bracers made of alcohol? Is that creepy looking book full of alcohol? I just wanted to party. Oh. Anyway, after that disappointment, I went to go finish up all the odd side quests in Act 1, and proceeded to bounce around the map with no pattern or organization of any kind. I said hello to Raphael, I saved Floric from Joaquin's Rest, I made friends with the ogres, I met this motherfucker. I destroyed the nest of giant spiders and got the key gem to the creepy-looking book. I resolved things with Kaga and the Shadow Druids. I wiped out the rest of the gnolls and stole the Zentrum cargo. I said hello to the Gift Patrol. I spent some time getting to know Shadowheart. Will grew a fresh set of horns. I finally went back and saved Mayrina from Auntie Ethel. Wasn't even that much of a fight, I was kinda disappointed. I rescued Volo and Halsin and laid siege to the Goblin camp's outer defenses. Jerry got a brand new eyeball, and after laying waste to the Zentrum hideout, I hit level 5. The final level of Act 1 was where every character build really started to take a distinct shape. Most characters were rounding out the act with a nice 2 subclass foundation on which to build. Astarion, on the other hand, had invested into 2 classes that both required 3 levels each, and was just getting his first subclass now. And then there was Shadowheart and Gale, who set the curve for variety, gaining a 3rd subclass each. Shadowheart's early investment into Monk had put her in a really good position as a martial main with low-level spellcasting as a backup. Gale, on the other hand, had spread his levels among 3 caster classes, giving him the highest spellcasting potential on the team. And thanks to the nifty wizard feature of adding scrolls to your spellbook, he was able to make good use of it. At this point, the only thing left to do was wipe out the entire goblin camp. After discreetly assassinating Priestess Gut and knocking out Minthara, I grabbed Halsin and finished it up. And after looting the place, it was finally time to party. And as Shadowheart and Jerry sneak off to have a party of their own, we find ourselves in a good spot to end the episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, leave us a like and keep an eye out for the next one, where I'll be tackling the Underdark and Mountain regions. Until then, I leave you with this little reminder that I am very bad at video games.